I went to a wedding this weekend though.
You have a little bit on each
I was holding
nail.
a martini glass and I was holding it like this. And I finally looked at the people and I'm like, I am so sorry. I'm like, I'm having a really hard time holding my glass. So I just need to disclose the fact that I know that my manicure blows. So then I'm just like, thank you. And then I can start drinking well, easier said than done. Because then it's like you're like.
She's got a real estate agent. She is a real estate agent. No time. Take it off.
It's just, well, then I know. I'm like, I'll get a manicure.
Leave them in the car and get a manicure.
There it is.
This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned in to episode 41 of The Real Word.
I had no idea what number we were on.
I know. I had to check with Sam, but we are indeed on.
I missed that. Oh, it says
41.
it on the board. Okay.
Main topic is a Brad Inman article from Inman. We'll link it up. Of course, we always link it up.
Well, yeah, now we do.
I didn't get a response from Melanie.
Maybe we lost Melanie as a follower.
We had
Melanie!
We had a little link issue. I think it was like 38 or somewhere in there. But I think they're all corrected now. So we'll link this up as we always do. The Brad Inman article is why real estate agents will never go out of business. Like ever.
I think it's really kind of a fun article, and I sent it to you mostly because I feel like the last 40 episodes.
The headline was good?
Well, the headline was interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was sort of hokey. I really didn't even want to read it, to be honest. I felt like it could have been a lot better of a tagline. But I sent it to you because I felt like the last 40 episodes, like you've been such like a. Not that you think that we're going out of business.
No,
but
I don't. I've never said that.
No,
I think that when I talk about the fact that Open Door certainly could eliminate a percentage of buyer's agents, people only hear eliminate buyer's agents and think that I'm saying.
Well, so that's really why I wanted to send it, just so that there would at least be sort of this larger spectrum of conversation, because we're not pessimists. I think that. I feel like of most we're optimists. It's about sort of like figuring out like a new way of thinking. But I thought that it was a really good article because I think that and again I think maybe in the last episode or the episode before, we really were sort of talking about like grassroots real estate and like the things that will never go away, like the things that you're always going to have to do, the things that are always going to work. And I think that this article is a great example of that, because it talks about us being what was you had the line, we're like the tapestry of the.
That was Brad Inman's line.
What are we?
Carpet baggers.
No.
In the
We're
article,
we're the fabric of the community. We are part of the
yeah.
fabric of the community.
Well, that's what he's saying. They're not carpet baggers. They are, which I don't know why Brad, that was an odd.
You probably had to Google that one.
Choice of
Did
words.
you Google carpetbagger?
No, I think you brought up.
Well, no, I did not.
The cousin
Stop it.
to carpet. The cousin of that word.
No, it's a family program.
Yes. Here's the thing. I think, one, people are never going to be able to buy from you unless they know you. So the grassroots stuff, like creating relationships, getting people to know you.
Yeah.
There is 0% chance you're going to get someone, a buyer, to buy through you any service, product, or anything unless they know who you are. Now, it doesn't mean they have to know you for their whole life,
right?
But they have to be aware of you. You have to get attention.
Well, I mean, I think you could very easily though dispute that, because like Zillow leads come through, they're not picking me because they know me. But
once you connect with them, now
100%. Although some buyers think that because I've already contacted her, like I'm stuck with her.
No. But my point is, it's impossible for anybody to buy from Nicole White unless they at some point know who Nicole White is.
100%, yeah. I mean, I think a large portion of this article, though, too, was really concentrating on the fact that because we're selling our communities, we are so much a part of our community,
right.
too.
And so where I'm going with that is, this works. The whole fabric of the community works really well in these small towns. These it doesn't have to be a super small town, but where you can get to know a lot of people. If you can get attention within your town and get people to know your name, you're likely never going to go out of business because you're going to do a deal for somebody. They're now going to tell their cousin, their sister, their brother that's now doing a real estate deal. You got to talk to Nicole.
Yeah.
She really went over and above. I mean, she came in. She gave us design tips even. She went way above and beyond what I thought a salesperson was going to do for me.
Yeah. And I think you touch on another layer there, though, too, because I think that so I think a lot of people that are, whether they've bought or not, or maybe it's been 30 years since they bought or not, I think it's still a very scary topic too. You know, like selling your house. What do? I don't know how to do it, or it's been so long, or oh my goodness, like I don't know what to do, or any of it. So I think that, you know, and not only obviously if they get to know you, they trust you, so obviously they come to you, but you know, they're really relying on you for who's the inspector that I use, what attorney do you like, oh my goodness, there's a leak, like what plumber do I come to? I mean, I'm sure you're hit up constantly for people that, you know, they're not even looking to buy or sell. They're just like, hey, like Byron, like who's the painter? Like I need a painter. Like my kids need a new room, and it's been 15 years since they bought.
You said something in there, trust. So Jared James, who we both know, he's a real estate coach, and he's actually located here in Connecticut.
Yep. Jared
always used to say, he says this all the time. Anytime, if you're going to get somebody as a client, they have to know you, they've got to like you, and they've got to trust you.
Right.
They can't like you if they don't know you.
Right.
They can't trust you if they don't like you.
Right.
Right? You have to have those three things at any time if you're going to do a deal. And the reason why I think Brad's right, agents aren't going to go away is because people are, to your point, super connected and fascinated by these relationships that they build.
Regardless of electronics, I mean, people still really like people. People still really like having relationships with other people. I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't think we're gonna go very far. I think that obviously our jobs are going to change, and the way you buy and sell real estate, like we've all been saying, is going to change. And
it's hyper local. Brad's point.
But I mean, you could really say it for anything. You know, I mean, I could buy a shirt online, but you know, I want to go and talk to Hillary over at the local, you know, dress shop because, hey, Hillary, like, how do these pants fit? Are they tighter? Are they bigger? Are they looser? Do you think they look okay on me? She's like, no, Nicole, like, actually, I've got these other pants coming in next week. You know what I mean? It really goes, it goes across all, I feel,
and for somebody
lines.
Relocating, right, they want to get into the community. Maybe they know a few people, but they want to start to ask questions like, who should I talk to? Because there are going to be, on the shoreline, there's going to be questions like, hey, what happened during Superstorm Sandy? Like, what part of the shoreline really got hit?
Right.
Were these houses on this road, like, were they flooded? And somebody that's been in the community, that worked the area, that knows the deals that took place and how that impacted, you know, you can only get so much information, right?
Well,
from word of mouth and
but
online.
it's also like,
you want to talk to the source.
Dentists. Like, I have a woman that just moved here from Jersey, and like, hey, Nicole, like, I've got 4 girls. Like, where do you go for like your dentist, or like we need braces, or like doctors, you know, all that. I think I mean, all of that, even just a dog walker, or, I mean, it's.
So to me, we'll go right to Racket number 1.
I know you
We're going to switch the Racket order too. I'm going to go to number 1.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think it ties right in.
It does.
So, which article? Where did you get this article? Actually,
so I think that was in Real. I think it's actually
one of your Realtor Mag specials. I think it was a Realtor Mag.
It's been in a few places.
I've got it. So YouTube.
Because there was an original video. This
one. No, I want to go this one. I think it ties in nicely.
Well, you're that's not the way it's read on the list.
That's why I said I'm switching the list. You mind?
Go ahead. That's a racket.
YouTube could be your biggest lead source as an agent. Is this a racket or not? The reason I think this ties in nicely to what we were just talking about is you have to get attention if you're truly going to stay in business. I do believe, and if you watch back on the last 40 episodes, I do believe there are some agents that are going to get pushed out of this business because they're not working on a team or with a big group of employees or something that get a lot of stuff done, or they're not taking technology seriously and figuring out where they can use these features to help their client experience. This one here, the YouTube, talks about this a lot. Like, get attention.
Right. So they're actually saying that YouTube is still second to Facebook, but I think that obviously, what's super telling here is YouTube is just a video based platform. Like you're not posting pictures on there. You're not writing like,
you actually can post pictures now.
Well, but you can't just write like, hey, like, whatever.
It's starting to change a little bit with the engagements. Where
don't contradict what I'm saying. No.
Well, no, I'm just saying the truth. I just happen to be talking about the truth.
Well, my point is though, is that with it being a video platform,
right. Overall,
they get to know you.
Platform.
They get to it's like right here with us, right? Like you get to know, sort of. Basically who we are.
Yes.
And if you don't like us, don't flip and call me. I don't need you to work with me if you don't like me. But if you do like me, it almost like it's sort of like a first date, you know? Like we sort of cut through the shit. Like you see who I am, you see who Byron is, you can pick one of us, you don't have to pick either one of us. Like it's helpful. So I think that's why, and I think that's what's, again, I think the fact that YouTube is second in lead generation is very telling, in that obviously people are also going on the social platforms, but people are enjoying getting to know people, and if they like them, they're going right to the person that they're seeing on the screen, not like, hey, my Aunt Lucy sells real estate,
I've gotten way more, not even close, way more business out of YouTube than I have out of Facebook. For me personally. And here's why.
I haven't gotten any business out of YouTube.
It's such longer tail. So, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I had a developer call me on a subdivision, and they had 10 lots left out of 76. It was because they were watching YouTube content that I was putting out, and they had the same agent for 20 plus years. But the sister put it out in front of her brother, who was, kind of making the decisions. Said, dude, we need to at least bring this guy in and have a conversation with him and see what he thinks, see why we haven't sold one of these deals, and ended up getting the listing and getting the subdivision sold out. But when you're putting out a show like this, like we are, or whatever your style is, there's some other really good shows out there. You now are becoming the voice of either your community, if it's local content, or your industry. This show is certainly geared towards agents. My referrals since doing this type of content over the last 3 years has gone through the roof from other agents.
Right.
Because when we were at the conference in California, I'm gonna give myself some little props.
Oh God, you've been doing that the whole show. What do you mean? I sold this whole complex. You didn't sell anything in 4 years. I mean, that's what the show's been. Keep going.
Did Tom Ferry mention a lot on stage, like, oh, Byron's show, or what? He was talking about YouTube content. There's 5,000 agents sitting in that room. They're more likely when they think of.
You just had what you had as a mirror, and you kept I
kept getting his attention. So, those agents that were in the room are more likely to refer me business when they think Connecticut than the other couple hundred agents that were in that room, because they're not getting attention. They're not getting awareness.
But they're also able to watch you, and then the agent trusts you too, in knowing that you're a valuable resource for them to refer their
when I refer a client out, I want to make sure that when my client looks up that agent that I referred, when they look that person up, him or her, they're gonna find a lot of good stuff.
Right.
I want that person to look like a rock star, because I don't want to look bad.
Right.
So when they refer a client to us, they're like, oh my gosh, you can check out all this content. Now the client isn't going to watch 41 episodes, by the way, but they may watch 30 seconds of one and be like, they're on their game. I'm definitely taking a meeting. Dude, I'll put out 41 pieces of content. You don't have to watch a second of it, but if you see a little clip and it gets a meeting, I'm not in this Facebook or anything else for likes, hearts, shares, any of that bullshit.
Thumbs ups?
No
thumbs ups?
I don't care if the attention is hidden or if it's out there on the shit. I just want your attention one way or another. And if you see me produce a video each and every single week, I will appear to a certain demographic as the leader in that space. There's no question, because the competition, the other agents, aren't doing it consistently.
You definitely have more lines than me this podcast.
Oh, jeez. Hey, what do we got?
Lots of lines.
So, but we're not even, Nicole, we're not even getting into running ads. You don't even have to put out content like this.
Right. Well, I think the point is, because I think we come across it a lot. I mean, I even got a call last week when we were out from an agent that's like, hey, like I'm about to lose this listing. She thinks that you should have it, but I don't really believe in the social media thing. And she's like, let's team up. But like again, like she was so worried about losing the listing that she wanted to like team up. But it's like like. I don't know.
You don't even know what's going on.
Well, and I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that I don't know. I feel like we started in one way and then we start talking about Byron, so we're now in a completely different direction. That's Jesus the Racket.
Christ. No, the Racket. No.
I mean, I think the point is yes. I mean, I think that regardless, I mean, and I think we've been saying it, and I like to think that everybody that is watching this podcast is up on social media and does understand like the importance of it. So,
but you might just be consuming content on YouTube. You need to start using it to your advantage.
Yeah, you need to start producing.
I mean, if YouTube, Facebook is the biggest because of Instagram right now, not because of Facebook. It's because of their whole shit. It's Instagram, right?
Yeah.
They own Instagram. Facebook's going to be the biggest. YouTube is owned by a small company called Google. Like, they're not going anywhere. And their video, I consume video content on YouTube because it's just better than Facebook and Instagram.
I mean, you watch everything on YouTube. I mean, I learned my husband changes toilets off of YouTube.
And all the kids.
Oh, so my daughter is talking to her friends on YouTube.
So my daughter is 1.5.
Yeah.
And she knows exactly how to get on the kids' YouTube.
Yeah.
And so, my wife's always going over and like grabbing the phone if she gets it locked or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you could just start running ads as an agent against the content that 2-year-olds are watching, and the mom is going to be over there 100%. On that phone all day long.
Oh, yeah.
And if she keeps seeing Nicole White, the agent,
or hearing it,
pre-roll ad, or hearing it over like a jingle on the radio over and over and over again, that's great branding. You don't even have to produce a show. You could do a 30-second commercial and run it for the next 6 months 100%. On YouTube.
And
it's much cheaper than running a commercial on your local cable. Which, by the way, nobody's seeing because the minute those commercials come up, they're watching their cell phone anyway.
Or print ad, dude.
Don't even talk like it's not even worth talking about.
Print ad. It's like atrocious what they're charging you for that, and you see everybody. You're like, holy fook, girl! Like,
but it's even more expensive to if you want to run a commercial in your local television. It is incredibly expensive. For dollars, you can do this on YouTube, and you can target it to your local community.
You can
you're gonna get far more real views because it's a 10-second. Then you can skip.
Yeah,
they're gonna hear you.
Well,
I'm not gonna see you on the TV.
No, well, it's much easier to quantify your ROI. Which I mean, in any real business, that's the most important thing to make sure that you have a good.
So this is not a racket. YouTube's a huge.
No, but the length of that racket was a racket.
That was a racket. I'm
Holy
sorry, Nicole.
schmoly.
Nicole hates these long.
No, they're
podcasts.
great. I see you over there like beating sweat on your lip.
I get worked up. It's this light.
It's like a sauna in here too.
Yeah, it gets hot in here.
All right,
racket
next
number 2.
I'm ready. Which one are we doing? Because you're totally.
No, we're gonna do what was gonna be number 1. Agent arrested for leaving his kids in the car, a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. You've got 3 kids. I've got 1. She's actually, this weekend was the first time she was ever in my car. We moved the car seat in the car. We moved it back out that day.
Have to.
But
too sticky for you.
You've got more experience than me. Is this a racket?
So this is a hard one. Have I left my children in the car during a showing? Yes, I have.
At what ages? If you don't mind
I don't even know. I can't. And I'm not putting the gentleman down because it sounds like from the article,
There's 2 articles, Sam. We got to link both of these up because there is the
first one that actually like sort of introduced him to the shitstorm that he's in, and then he sort of rebutted. So he is claiming that he stayed. It was a walkthrough. It sounds like he stayed outside of the home, was only 30 feet away from the car. He was not far. It sounds like he locked them in there. I've never actually locked my children in the car. I usually leave the windows down so I can at least have communication with them. Like, hey guys, like, you okay? Like,
he says he could see the
again, there's so many things. I mean, obviously we're always worried about like because it's summer now, like it's so touchy. I feel horrible for this guy because he's really not the only one that's done it. Again, especially as parents, and sometimes people want to see a house like after football practice, and of course, like you've got your children after with you after football practice, or I mean, there's the schedule of a realtor is so unpredictable, and it's It's all over the board. And obviously, you want to do right by your client. If someone wants to see the house, if you're selling your home and, there's all of a sudden this one showing that pops up and it happens to be falling at the same time that you're sort of, bringing kids here to it's
here's it. Buyers want frictionless service. We've been talking about that a lot.
We have, yes.
And you have a lot of pressure as an agent to offer frictionless service, like meet the demands of the client, do it at that time, all that kind of stuff. That being said, I know where you're like being careful. I also just think this is the problem with this industry, meaning people get their license and don't take this seriously as a business. Mm-hmm. They're not treating this like a business. They're like, I'm going to hack this thing. I'm going to do it part-time. Like, I'm going to, literally.
I don't do it part-time. I don't do it part-time.
No, who said Nicole was doing it part-time? Why do you sitting here thinking about like I'm talking about you or something? There are people that will be like, and they have to do it. They'll be working from home. They're feeding. I've talked to agents on the phone. They're feeding their kids in one hand and trying to do a deal in another. Mm-hmm. Now, you got to start from somewhere. But you would never, ever, ever go to a doctor who's going to do surgery on you and he'd be like, dude, you don't mind if I got like my kids in the room here, like chilling, like while we go over this like meeting about your surgical procedure. You'd be like looking for a new doctor. You have to treat this like a business. You have to take it seriously, which means you may have to have the significant other. He should have figured out a way where maybe he's a single father. I don't know. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. So you think that he should have, like, you think it's ridiculous that anybody would bring their child anywhere?
But you bring them out of the car, you be a normal human being. Yeah. Hey guys, I got a situation here. I have a situation. My kids
love seeing home. Sometimes I'm like, guys, go run around the house and get it out of your system first before the buyers come.
But like, this is when you can start to become unethical, because where does it stop? Leaving your kids in the car is the wrong thing to do. But you're nervous because you're not confident in your real estate skills. You're nervous about losing the client.
Well, you're definitely worried about losing the client, which is why you leave them mostly in the car.
In my opinion. Yeah. The reason
sometimes my kid, I've got an 11-year-old. She'd much rather be on her iPad than going to a restaurant though too. So
if you're super confident in your skills, you got to just say, dude, I've got a situation. I tried to do everything I could. I've got my kids here with me. The client will understand.
Well, the client just wants to see the house. So if bringing your children means you need to see the house.
My point is, where does it stop where you start to cut corners? The average agent in this business does 1 to 3 deals a year, which is under the poverty line in America.
Right.
So if you're under the poverty line and there's a way for you to cut a corner on a dual agency deal because it's going to be your 4th and 5th deal and it's 3 weeks before Christmas, this is why I always say,
wow, there's so many. You're really making a story here.
I'm just saying, where does it stop? Like, where do you stop cutting corners? If I'm buying real estate, there's no chance I'm buying from somebody without the backing of a team that's doing a ton of deals.
Right.
Because I don't know if that person is giving me advice based off of their bank account or based off of my best interest.
Right.
And I don't know his whole situation, but
I hear you. I don't bring my kids to cut a corner, though.
But I'm certainly thinking that this person is trying, and it could have come from a really good place, trying not to lose the client because they're embarrassed that they have their kids or whatever the case may be.
And this was a walkthrough. This wasn't even a showing. He was at the end of the relationship with this client too, which is a little bit more interesting to me because I have brought my kids to walkthroughs before. Again, I've usually let the client know in advance, like, hey, like I have to have my kids, like our kids can play in the backyard while you walk through the house. It's actually, it works out sometimes really well because then they're all sort of playing and then their parents can actually, sort of do what they need to do through the house.
This also, I think, highlights to me the reason this is not a solo business.
Right.
If you're a solo agent and you're putting your kids in that position, shame on you. You have the opportunity to seek out high producing teams and work on a team and actually provide your clients a far better experience. But if you're one of those greedy agents out there that watch HGTV and think you're going to do it on your own, those are the agents I'm rooting to fail, be out of the business.
You want them to get arrested for leaving their kids in the car.
Or get arrested. But I feel bad for this guy because he certainly was put on blast out there.
Yeah, he was. And I I mean, I'm admitting, like, I've had my children in the car during a showing or what have you, and I'm certain that him and I, well, that's because you don't even have your kid in the car when you're with your kid. I mean, jeepers. Anyway,
it's
I think
hard when you're first starting out, which is
horrible.
why if you leverage a team, that's going to be not only in your best interest, your personal growth, it's going to be in the client's best interest, which, by the way, is what this is all about. It's always about the client. It's not about you, right?
Right. Well, and in his defense, I think that I'd like to think that is why he was then willing to meet the client at a time that didn't really work for his schedule, but knew that it was going to work for them because they were going to be closing on the property. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Racket number 3.
On to the next.
Where is the U.S. housing market headed? We are in September, right after Labor Day, 2018. Where do you see it headed? I'm going to give you the CNN Money 4 points.
Okay, we're going to CNN. I think this is the first time that maybe
I think we've had another CNN.
Maybe. Not often.
No, they don't talk about real estate that much.
No, but I mean, this is important stuff.
Number 1. New home construction, new houses are starting to flatten out. This is across the country, so this isn't like local or anything. Number 2, housing prices, they keep rising, which is deterring would-be buyers. Number 3 ties into that. Fewer home sales because people feel like the houses are just too expensive and there's limited inventory, so they're holding off. And then number 4, this is the one that perked my interest a little bit. Foreclosures are on the rise again, the first time since 2015. Do you think we should be worried?
So I guess I didn't really read the foreclosure part. Are they saying that the actual foreclosures that are occurring or foreclosures that are coming on the market is rising?
Foreclosure starts are increasing again for the first time since 2015. So and
these
the trend
are homes that are going
and,
into foreclosure.
But here's something, right?
Yep.
So the trend is particularly visible in hurricane-hit cities like Houston, but also increasingly expensive places like L.A.
Right. So I have many things to say. I mean, we're talking about the entire U.S. here, so we really have to sort of pick it apart by area. I do understand the foreclosure.
Which is why tying it all the way back, it's super important.
I mean, I understand why Houston, because a lot of those people didn't have flood policies. They weren't in a flood zone. They lost everything. I'm certain the insurance company is probably not paying them for what it is that they lost because there was some sort of flood exclusion. So I get it there. I get LA. I mean, I feel like LA probably they're in a big bubble. They are pretty much living the exact same lives the rest of America lived in 2005.
It's super competitive, so people overbought. And,
of course, 100%. I mean, you see that in Boston. You're seeing that in many major cities. Again, the Northeast, though, like we could talk about Connecticut. I don't think that, we still haven't gotten out of where we were. So I guess I wouldn't be surprised to see foreclosures because, gosh, I mean, people that were holding on by a thread and then anything that went wrong while you're holding on, I feel like Connecticut, we're all just still holding on like we were.
I believe that home prices must come down nationwide.
Of course, it's a natural cycle.
And because most of America, outside of Boston and Los Angeles and these types of places, have not seen their incomes increase, right? So if incomes are not increasing, but homes values are, there's a certain disconnect there.
Right.
And it's super, super expensive to build a house.
Right.
Like, you got to have some serious dough right now to build new construction. It's expensive. It's expensive to renovate a house. Oh my gosh,
and then you get all the add-ons. I mean, goodness, like even if you just don't want carpet and all of a sudden you want hardwood, I mean, your price is going, I mean, it's extremely expensive, which is, for the most part, building lots really, they've come back a little bit because, new homes have gone up a little bit over the last 3 years. But your land is not worth what, your grandpa told you it was going to be worth 60 years ago. It's just not. It's worth like almost the same. Yeah. Well,
because building materials are so high.
Right. Well, and in the article too, it was also talking about, obviously all the, the political, tariffs that are on certain items too.
I think more
is
than
causing things to increase as well.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that interest rates certainly are a real thing. Like, They went up a little bit. They came back down. As those continue to go up, that chews into what people can afford.
Right. Well, again, I think it's just a natural cycle. I mean, everyone can't assume that it's always just going to be good. It always has to come back down. It has to flatten. It has to normalize.
And reference in this article, to your point, things have been so good that there's only one place for them to go, which is maybe pulling back to a normal market.
Yeah. I don't think we'll have a big fallout like we did,
I
years
think it's
ago,
a racket to believe what happened in 06, 07, 08 is about to happen again. That is not what I'm seeing. A lot of these deals, like, there's certainly a condo bubble right now in Miami. A lot of those deals were bought with cash.
Right.
So it's not similar to the last market where everybody came in and used, mortgages that were shouldn't have been qualified for.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not concerned. I feel like it's all normal. The foreclosure thing again. I mean, obviously, I feel like it's hyper local to certain areas. But
all right, you got a showing. Don't bring your kids, by the way. Do you got your kids? Have your kids been in the car this whole time?
Do you even know your kid's name?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Me?
Yeah.
I only have one.
I know. Do you even know her name?
Of course I do. I have one kid that I know of. Her name is Stella.
My kids enjoy the real estate life.
Well, let's sign them up. Let's sign them up early.
Yeah.
Hey, they're in training. This is my intern. All right, guys. Really appreciate it. Any comments, questions, drop them below. See you next week.